As Queensland counts down to the new year, the state remains in the grip of a flood disaster which is now affecting 200,000 people. It covers an area the size of France and Germany combined. Emerald is tonight underwater in its worst flood on record. Peter Doherty is there. And Peter, how are the residents coping?
Talitha, for many, the size of this disaster is difficult to comprehend, but for the locals here, there's been no time to think, just survive. The mayor now says 1,000 homes have water inside them, 3,000 are completely surrounded. New Year's Eve on the eve of disaster. As the Nagoa River surged towards its peak early this morning, there were final frantic evacuations. One-day-old babies loaded onto Blackhawks along with hospital patients to be flown out of town. Then, in the early hours of this morning...
That'll be the 2010 mark there, right there for the floods.
The real indicator was right here. Homes inundated, streets of them underwater, their residents long gone.
I think it's horrendous. I think there's too much of it. And it's quite frightening as to where it's going to go.
It went anywhere it wanted. The best engineered sandbagging did nothing.
There's a lot more people out there, hell of a lot worse off than us.
From the air, the big, bad picture is revealed. The Weather Bureau says the peak was 16.05 metres. That's 70 centimetres higher than 2008 in a record.
This would be the highest. Obviously, the devastation is a lot more than anything. And, the town's certainly got a lot bigger, so you've got a lot more risk and a lot more, people affected.
More businesses flooded too. The town's second shopping centre went under, and with it Woolworths. McDonald's and KFC also out of action, but the real heartache was across town.
You don't expect to come home to something like this,
While the official peak was this morning, some areas kept rising as the water moved around Emerald. So for the next couple of days, this is the only way around many parts of town as Emerald waits for the water to slowly go down. And this is why Fairburn Dam, just outside Emerald, at 175%. It's 1 million megalitres above normal capacity, and that water has to flow past Emerald, which remains cut off. The rail line can't be inspected for another day. The Army is flying in temporary accommodation. Over 500 people are in 3 Red Cross shelters.
It's better than being in the water, isn't it? We just don't know whether our house is underwater or not at the moment, so when we find that out, we'll sort out what we're going to do.
And it is a tragic sight with 1,000 homes underwater. Today, 7 News reporter Erin Edwards was taken to the worst areas in a dangerous ride in a boat, revealing the extensive property damage.
This is the only way in, and it's dangerous.
If anything goes wrong, grab hold of the bridge. Don't worry about nothing here, just cling to the post.
Beneath the boat, bitumen, cars and street signs.
Under there is the bridge.
Bomber McKay abandoned his house last night.
Oh, getting a bit panicky if it gets in the top story. Hey, I'll be back.
In Riverview Street, the view is usually 100 metres away. Paul Cannon spent a nervous night on his veranda.
You can hear the water flapping up underneath the place, and we're just watching all the stuff floating down the river.
Upstream, Bomber sees his house.
There's a swimming pool in there somewhere.
1.5 metres of water is roaring through his home.
In we go.
The floorboards are dry.
5 steps and she's in the house.
These 3 homes, looted in the last flood, went under again.
These houses were all built after the 2008 disaster. No one expected another flood, let alone a bigger one, so soon.
We are clearly going to have to go looking at those situations, That's why we've got people up now even taking photographs to give us an idea.
Residents forced out wanted to go back. These friends swam across.
They just told us to stay out of the water and not swim around due to a few people have had to be saved.
This man tried to, carrying bread and beer above his head.
When I'm 180, so got to be at least 2 meters or so.
He tried again and was rescued. A small community, they're worried about their friends and neighbours. We showed them what they couldn't get to see.
Oh my goodness.
Tough days ahead. In Emerald, Erin Edwards, 7 News.
And the Red Cross will tonight feed evacuees outside the town hall. They're trying to create a street festival atmosphere. because it's New Year's Eve, very difficult given what's all around town.